around and take a
all
look right
that
quick.
stuff
I
that,
thought I just asked her.
well, but this one, is that also including all those things that this other one is? That's what I'm curious of.
I assumed she meant both.
That both were.
But I don't know.
Well, and I think it's like, we've talked about this before, it gets a little bit hard because we're like, hey, provide a bid for this, and some have a vision of this is what we need to do to fix it, to do that thing, and another might be different because we don't give them.
Well, I think she was
Very
specific on
specific
exactly, here's what,
parameters.
and I think when her and Tim and Bo all went down there, I think they said, this is exactly what we want to fix it. Or, I mean, maybe they got together. But,
That just seems so drastically different. It's just,
hey, that's the way it was
my
when they did
spidey
the square.
sense goes up when the bids are that significantly different,
But,
just
hey,
to make sure we're comparing
Yeah,
apples to
I
apples
don't
here.
see the word French drain on there, which is pipes that you gotta use.
Right, and that's what I wonder, if that's
Plastic
the
pipes are high
difference.
right now.
Yeah, that's, only. I know how you always talk
Maybe
about
he's
the
talking-
concrete work being
Carolyn, if you want
like
pass
the
that,
big
you guys look
bucks,
at
we
it.
have to be careful
Well,
about
we'll
what
ask
we
her
get
when
with
she
that.
gets back in.
When Becky comes in, we can,
Yeah.
she'll decipher.
Look, we jabbered long enough. Just in time.
You ladies and gentlemen, Webb, and everybody want to see this?
No.
Okay, all right.
So
Then you
let
get
me look,
clarification
so
on the
this
French
is from
drain.
DCL Construction and Excavating, Dylan Looney. I mean, so it looks like mainly what Doty has put on his is just the concrete, doing all the concrete. I don't see anything on his bid for the drain. This guy has put prep for needed slab, form pour finish for needed slab, prep form pour finish of stub wall, French drain for inside of stub wall, French drain for outside of slab work, optional slab prep, optional slab form, pour and finish. Without the optional, I mean, he's got 39, 48.
So when you say the optional, is that the
57.
French drain being the optional piece, or because
Prep
did you
work.
tell Doty
Extra.
that's what you needed?
Prep
Was-
work.
So we can't even compare really then when they're bidding on totally different.
Well, the concrete work, pretty much. So just his concrete work, the slab and the stub wall is 39 and 9, so 48,000 is what he has bid for just the concrete work and the stub wall without the French drain. And then he's got another 10,000 to do the French drain.
Doty resubmit, knowing
Yeah.
that he.
I mean, I could have him resubmit to include the French drain part, because right now all he has on here is the concrete part.
Yeah, I think you're gonna need something to prevent
Yeah.
it being destroyed again. I mean, to invest in something and not
I'm not
divert the
doing
water appropriately.
Yeah, I'm not doing it unless we can do the French
Who's
drain.
contractor A?
I'm sorry.
Who's the
Who's
first
this one? He's from who?
DCL Construction and Excavating, Dylan Looney.
I don't know. Do
Is
you?
that local too?
I mean, we put it out because we have everybody that's on that bid line, so I don't,
Who's he from?
It's a 306-600.
I think Tim told me he's from Springfield.
What do you guys have in mind before you bid it? How much money do you guys think it might be?
So we had planned on 35,000.
And he had 10,000 for a first drain?
He had 39,000 for just the slab.
He had 10,000 for first drain?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I move we accept Doty with the $10,000 additional for French drain if he can do it for that price.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
That's
not a bad idea.
$6,000, that's.
I don't think so, because that's got all of it.
26,000 versus 50.
I mean, I don't know where it's
$10,000
at,
for
but I
rental.
swear, he went and
That's
met with
26,000
Tim.
we're offering.
They would be okay with Becky talking to Dale and figuring out what they want to do with the French drain and how much, or go ahead, just say 10,000.
Well,
Up
if contract
to.
Ray allowed 10,000, I'm giving Doty,
So
my
up to.
offer is,
Up to
where
20
his bid is, if it's 16 weather changes plus the
plus
10,000,
the 10,000.
that's still
Okay.
below the second
That's
bidder,
still below the
and that's
other.
covering hopefully
And
everybody.
if Doty can't do that, then we can bring it back.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, I would just verify with him and have Doty put it in
I'm not
writing.
sure how much detail they had when they got there.
Because when you look at Doty's, he has the amount of concrete and the
Yeah, and we've
labor.
actually took each one
Yeah.
of them down there and to
Yeah.
the site. But I had other people that went and looked at the site, but they didn't get bids in time.
But Doty did the square.
He did.
And he was half or on that too, wasn't he?
And he's one of our local people.
Yeah,
which I
he's
think is
local, he did our
nice.
square, he did good work there
Yeah.
and, you know.
Now, was there
I
any
think that's
issues
reasonable.
with the square? Did some of that coloring come up that had to redo or something?
Yeah, but he's come back. and
They've done it,
made good
okay.
on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's, so,
My motion was accept this bid, add 10,000 to it for French drain allowance, if he'll accept those terms.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'll verify that he meets everything that the other one does.
I'll second.
yeah. There was second by Mark. Mark, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And on the restrooms on the square, we may need to allow a little more time for bids to come in because the only bid I got so far was from Doty and all he bid was the concrete. But I had at least, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 people that came and picked up the specs on it.
So we're giving 7 more days. or
I would
14
like to
days?
give it a few more days before we make a decision on it.
Sounds good.
So that we can get some of those bids back, because there was some good contractors that picked
Yeah,
up
we want a pretty
the
building.
bid specs, yeah.
cause how long has the bid been out there?
About 2 weeks.
And we
But-
had kind of icky weather for
Yeah,
a while in
yeah.
there too, and
And then you've got, you know, by the time they work it up and they're trying to work jobs, it's,
Yeah.
I'd like to give them a few more days, because we did have some good contractors that.
So how are we gonna, we're gonna meet again to decide on it or wait till next month?
You'll, I mean, I don't want to wait till next month, so.
Well, we can
So
have
it
two
probably,
meetings. There's an idea.
hey, you know what? That's a great idea.
Can you,
do not encourage her.
can you do a phone meeting?
Yeah,
I can send it out and let you guys
Yeah.
get your input from there.
so let me ask real quick, what are we bidding? Cause I know you mentioned having our guys do the stick work.
But you
None of
guys
that?
voted not to do that.
Okay, I can remember. So it's
You
the whole
guys
thing.
voted for us just to contract it so
So
that
it's
it
the
would get done.
concrete, the plumbing and everything, the whole thing.
We will install all the fixtures. So they'll do all the rough-in, then we would actually install the vanities, the toilets, the actual finished stuff. We would install
And it's
that.
30 by 30, entrance from the south.
So it'll be a 30 by 30 building, but it's a 30 by 40 pad. So that we have plenty of room in the front for handicap accessibility. It'll be a large
Did he come and look
restroom.
at it? For the bathrooms?
He picked up the specs.
Okay.
Do we need a motion or can we just give it to the?
I just would like to just wait and we'll
Yeah.
take it up.
And I think that, I think that's a
17th or
good idea.
18th, you know, those 2 days. Because it takes a long time to get your bid back from your suppliers, you know, on
Right,
Yeah.
a lot of
Because-
categories.
because, you know, you gotta have.
And they were
parking,
bidding a lot of things and so they may,
ADA and all that kind of
they-
stuff.
some of those guys are gonna be subbing out part of that. So,
Yeah.
you know, they may not have had time to get all that back together, so.
Okay. Back up to annexing of Highway 60,
Okay.
annexation, I should say.
Larry's here. He can talk a little bit about that, but basically what I sent out to you in your packet is they've offered to, so what we asked for was Business 60 to the west overpass and the east overpass at Dunn. On Business 60 and then on 4-lane Highway 60, just the road bed. That's what we asked for. What they've offered to us is that they will go ahead and give us Business 60 and 4-lane 60 to the west, from 95 to the west, from city limits to the west on the business route, from 95 to the west on highway, the 4-lane. They didn't want to do the east way because they said it extends farther than our city limits than they liked. Wasn't that basically what it said in the letter, Larry? And I would like to go ahead, I told Larry, go ahead and prepare a response to them that we would agree to go ahead and do what they're offering to us at this time. And then we'll go back to them later and shoot for going to the east.
Folks, don't buy horses or cattle from Becky. She's a good trader and negotiator.
Well, let's
She's
take what
got a good
they're,
idea on this one. This is
well, let's
good.
just take what they're
Yes,
offering. It's
perfect.
MoDOT. They're offering to
Good.
do all the paperwork
Yeah.
and put it through for us.
Yeah.
It will give us the road bed all the way out to the west overpass and on Highway 60. And then now that we're developing the Twin Cities Industrial Park, that'll give us a little more leverage when we want to go back and go the other direction.
That'll help you out too, wouldn't it, Danny?
We're out there doing it anyhow. That's the issue.
It's just now it will give us, it will be in our
14
jurisdiction.
It'd be in
Yeah.
jurisdiction.
What's the pros and cons?
I mean, to me, there's not a
We have any
con to it.
liability?
Because all we're doing is the roadbed. We're not forcing anyone to annex into the city. That's what keeps it contiguous, is because we're just doing the roadbed, those
And
directions.
Danny, you're doing what Highway Patrol and MoDOT ask you, aren't you? I mean, they ask. And you go to Dunn all the time anyway, don't you? So hopefully, I mean, that'll help.
So Highway Patrol ends up being short-staffed, so there's a lot of times that our officers are asked to kind of patrol out there.
The pressure
Pick
is
up
on
the
us to
slack.
have all that.
So you needed a motion to
When,
go
when it
ahead with
comes
it?
down to it, you look at Rogersville and Seymour, and their city limits is way past.
Oh, yeah,
what
I don't
we're
understand
down.
how they did that,
Larry?
even Diggins.
Yes, Larry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I sent the letter you and I talked about. I'm waiting to hear back from the
If they'll move
supervisor
ahead
up
with that.
up the line.
So is that, MoDOT has to give that permission?
They own it. Yeah, they own the roadbed.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's like Webb's talking about, you go to Seymour and Ford, and the local police are out there sitting, watching.
We're hoping we can go incrementally on east after we
That'd be
move
good.
west. We'll do this
Baby
first.
steps.
Can I interject real quick on the comment you just made? We're not looking to go out there and just sit and
No,
write tickets.
no,
That's
you're- no.
not what we're after. Our point is, we're out there having to do the enforcement anyhow, because the patrol is backed up. And it just, you were talking liability. I mean, right now, we would be working on basically an agreement, just saying, hey, we need your assistance. This would give us the footing that we need to just go ahead and either execute an arrest or a citation or whatever we need to do.
Does the state own all of the soil? We just have it
The
inside the
roadbed.
city limits, is what that is?
The roadbed, yes.
Which is from fence to fence kind of in the.
Right away to right away, they're, you know.
Mhm.
Danny, I have a question.
Yes.
If me or anyone stopped and arrested, do you haul them in, or do you call Highway Patrol to take them? Arrest on
We
them?
would hold him until the patrol got there, or the county or someone, and they would take over.
As long as it's out of the city limits, that's how, it would- but if it's in the city limits, it's you.
Right.
Okay.
I kind of think Larry needs to tell them, we'll take that, but we need the other two because our officers are working it.
We'll
We're not
move.
gonna take
We'll
those
move
for
that.
now.
We're not, yeah, we're not,
Just
we're
for
not.
now.
We don't want
We
to push
actually
them.
have a
One
plan.
step at a time?
Yeah.
Well,
right?
they offered and we're like, okay, let's
Okay,
take it,
yeah.
and then we'll go back.
So you
a
need
little
that
bit later.
motion?
Or if they go and get, like you said, half of it, not all the way to done.
You
I
need
make
that
a
motion.
motion to accept MoDOT's proposal to annex to the west.
I second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay.
New business, undeveloped 13th Street.
Okay, so you all, did you all get a chance to kind of look at what I'm talking about? 13th Street to the west and to the east do not join, because that land is on the map, that it's there if we want to develop it. Currently, it would probably just be used for utilities at this point, but if you guys looked at it at all, you see that it's right through the middle of a major floodplain through our town. To ever develop that street through there, you're gonna have to build a major bridge to even
Well,
be able to
and
cross down through there.
you're not allowed to develop in the floodplain. I mean, even if we put the road down through there and you had a developer want to build houses until they found some way to mitigate the floodplain to reduce it or get rid of it,
So
you're
that's,
gonna.
That's on the west side of that, Mark, isn't it? Because it's where Jack McGowan's old place.
Go down over the hill.
so
goes
if
over
you
there.
guys will look at the map that I put in front of you, that'll show you where the floodplain is. So,
That blue is the floodplain?
the blue, well, the striped area is the floodplain, and then the blue is the 100-year floodplain. And and if you see up here, I marked, Clint made these maps for you. He marked Main Street up here so you could kind of get an idea. So where those houses are, that's the ones there along Main Street. And most all the property that he has now purchased, the gentleman that was inquiring about opening this, is within that floodplain.
Where's 13th Street? Where is it? Out there.
It's gonna be right here.
And it goes this way, right?
Yeah. So
Oh,
all
yeah,
of
right
this.
into that. Whoa,
Now,
whoa.
he does currently own that A-frame house that sits behind Camperine's building.
Next to the creek.
And all of that property that is in there, he can access through that property. So he does own property that joins it, but you'd have to go in through a private drive to go in that way.
I don't think by the floodplain regulations, even if he owns it and wants to build houses and use the access there, I don't think we're allowed to issue building permits or anything on it.
Well, but Clint said, he was telling me that he would have to fill out a floodplain application.
Yeah.
They would have to prove that
He
they
would
were
have to
meeting
mitigate a
certain
whole bunch of
criteria
stuff.
to even build houses back
Yeah.
there. Or a business or whatever might happen back there.
We know every time it floods, and it crosses 95 right there, town country. Last time it flooded, it wiped out Duggar's parking lot there. It took out the pavement.
Mhm. So my other issues are too that, they're gonna be doing that widening. I don't know, so he asked about if we could just gravel part of that going down through there to where they at least had an access. But if you create that access, then they're gonna be wanting to use it. And I don't think that MoDOT is going to want us to have a gravelled street coming up to this widening project they're doing. I think they're gonna have
Why
some
should the
issues with
city
that.
do the graveling?
It would be, if it's your street, if you're wanting to do it,
don't
there's just a
think it
lot
would
of
be-
issues
I
with it.
I think it'd be, by the time you did all, it'd be,
I think it's a
Tremendous
very wise
expensive.
investment.
right? It'd be tremendously expensive.
And Bo,
Yeah.
I mean, on that area down there, if we did put gravel there,
I said I don't
a
think
big
it's
rain
wise
is gonna wash it every time down there.
Every time, every time.
Well, I would say if he wants the city to do that stuff, he should probably go through the process with the floodplain first and see that there's gonna be something that's gonna
Show us what,
Yeah,
show us what is
yeah.
gonna be in there so that we know
Yeah,
what
And
would
then-
be developed.
And then after MoDOT gets done with what they're doing, because if the city does all that, and the MoDOT comes in, they tear all that out, I don't think it's feasible
So-
financially for the city to do
you know, it
that.
may be a better option to go down there, from looks at the map, maybe a better option to go off of Oakland Street and just put a cul-de-sac up in there and not gravel down the hill.
We'd have to go over that creek.
You're still gonna have to cross the creek.
I think
And-
there's a
and
lot
put
more
a-
ducks that need to be put.
A lot of money
before
for a
we do
bridge.
Let me ask a
anything.
question. When you have a new development, doesn't the developer make the street?
Well,
city
he
specs?
would, once it
Then
off
we
of
make
our
money?
street, he would be responsible for that, but this would be our street. This
It's
isn't
an
his.
existing.
Yeah, that's
It's an
It's just
existing
not been-
street that's
been
not
developed.
So
developed.
it doesn't qualify for that.
Now, if he decided to do a development in that area, that he would get approved through plan, if he decided to do development in there, he would have to do the street for that, but yours, 13th would be ours to take.
I
care
don't
of.
know.
Am I wrong in saying that we have plenty of other streets that need attention
Yeah.
versus
Oh, yeah.
creating a
And-
new one that's gonna
And
need a
here's my
lot of
thing
work?
too,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I said, it's a floodplain. I think he's getting the cart before the horse, isn't he? Clint,
Well-
is there any way that's gonna get approved? I mean, in your,
Really, the only way that I would feel comfortable with it is going off of the ordinance that we have. The lowest floor, if there's a basement, has to be 2 feet above the base flood elevation. I'm not sure what that is. I think we would have to get with the insurance company, the flood insurance company, and they would tell us what the elevation is right there, what the flood elevation is.
I don't
He would
think
have
that's
to
where you
build
were.
minimum 2 feet above that.
so look, and then if you do that, then where's the water gonna go that you're directing somewhere else?
Right.
There's just a lot that he
There's
would
a
probably
lot.
need to work out with Clint before we would know what is gonna go.
So do we need to do anything on this?
So
or
we
just
don't,
move
so we
on?
just
I-
don't make a motion to nothing.
I don't think we're ready to do anything.
Okay. Next thing on the agenda is hangar lease request. Becky.
Okay, so as I put in my report, we have a gentleman from Alaska that contacted me and he is moving to this area. And he has a plane and he wanted to know if council would be willing to let him build a hangar at the airport. He said that he doesn't want to leave his plane sitting outside and anchored down out there. His name is George Schmoll.
I
He
don't
would
blame
like
you
to
for
do
not
a
letting
40 by
us.
60 hangar. He said he would build something that council was comfortable with if council was willing to let him do that and do the same type of agreement that you have on the other hangars out there, which is long-term lease agreements. I think the ones we have on right now are 20-year agreements. which the amount of expense they would go into to build a hangar, you're gonna want at least a 20-year lease agreement on the property. Now, we are moving ahead with our hangar that we're going to build, that we're getting grant money for.
Do we know what the timeframe is on
It's
that?
probably, he said it's possible that the hangar might get built late fall, but it could be spring, depending on when they release the funds on it.
My thoughts on it from brief research that I did is we gotta get airplanes in because we're in a little bit of, sounds like where we could get in trouble on our numbers to keep our federal funding. So obviously, I'm scared to turn away anybody that if they're gonna make a nice building and
Yeah, because I'm glad you mentioned that, because the number issue is gonna become an issue if Mr. Darter's son decides to pull his planes, and I
think-
don't know what might happen with that, because there's a chance he could.
I think they're for sale or gonna be, so
Right,
our numbers could go down
because I think
quick.
we have to have, I don't know, I'll have to look back at what
Have to
our
ask
grant
Dave what
is
that number
based
is.
on.
Even
Well,
though
it's in our stuff with
in my mind,
MoDOT,
it
but
might be 7, it might be 5, it's something.
What happens if he violates the 20-year lease, say he wants to take the plane and go to his hangar and become ours?
that's what you put in the lease.
You put in the lease that it can't
We
be
just
for
have-
storage or, you
We would
know,
just have Larry put that in the
you
lease.
have a lease that if he
Yeah,
goes
that's
somewhere
I
else,
think we need to have specs as far as certain requirements we want it to.
it can be leased by, you
Look
can
like.
sublease it to another plane, but it can't be,
We
so we
have-
gotta start.
we
I mean, it has to be a
cars.
certain type of building and
Yes.
certain things.
We have similar ones with Ray and with Ben and different ones, so we could I can give Larry a copy of those and we can work off of what we already have.
And of course,
What's
the next thing
typical
will
rate
be,
for the lease?
I mean,
there's
we
not, I don't think,
do what?
there's not a significant price on it, right?
No,
There's
I
just
think,
a-
I'd have
it's
to
just
look
an
at, I
agreement,
think it's
yeah.
like $100 a year or something.
Yeah.
It's really just an encouragement to get the planes.
Yeah,
Well,
get
if we
we
don't-
buy our gas. And
If we don't keep planes out there,
Well, if
the city's not gonna have the money to maintain.
So like
the
right
airport.
now, the last time you guys got money to redo the runway and to, like the hangars that we're gonna build right now, you're not gonna have any money in that. I mean, it's
100%.
financing
Yeah.
or funding
Yeah,
So
we need-
Do you
Not
need
financing, but
do you need a
funding.
motion to go forward
to
with this?
allow Mr. Schmoll to enter into an agreement with the city.
I would make a motion to allow Mr. Small to enter.
And in the meantime, that's Becky and Larry's gonna hash it out and do all that stuff, yes.
Second,
Because then
Mark made it, Webb
Do you
second.
guys wanna set an amount,
in our
or do you
discussion,
want it to just be similar to what we already
How many
have on
leases
here?
do we have now?
We currently have 3.
How old are they?
Old. The newest one would be the one that Ray Davidson, but he bought out James Smith's hangar,
John.
Yeah,
John Smith.
I
We just redid,
And we just
Yeah.
redid Ben's. They've been around for a long time.
I think
I
this guy
just
from the
base
last,
it
oh,
on,
I see. you
he's
meant
gonna expect to pay a little bit. I mean, those there are old.
These are 1970 rates.
They need to kind of be updated rates a little bit, but not outrageous. I mean, you figure out what it is.
That's a yearly rate when you quote it.
I mean, I don't.
And then
I think
he's gotta
it'd
have
be something to be
insurance.
fair, and insurance for him and everything.
And do we need to decide where it's gonna go or between, you know?
I will ask, so I would
That
clear
talk with
that through
David.
Brett. So Brett is with Garver, is our engineer that works on all of our stuff. I would have him approve that spot
Okay,
before we
so
let
that's
him
not
go
something
in
we have
there.
to worry about right now.
Mhm.
All right, we have a motion by Mark, second by Webb. Webb, how you vote?
yes.
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 Thank you. All right, Becky, you're gonna go through your administrative report?
I
Whatever
think,
we have.
I think a lot of it we've already covered. The grant update on Lake Lily, still minimal progress. Hopefully they'll get started more on it now that the weather's gotten better. Mostly it's because it's so wet over there. Bulldog project, we're just finishing up things. We're so close to that being completed. Bush Street, I talked to, now that we're getting into spring and we can start on it again, I talked to Toth just the other day, and he said that he's getting ready to put it out for bids now that they're starting to, we're getting into spring. So we will be moving ahead with that. I didn't put it on here, but Maple Street, I'm working with SCOCOG on our paperwork for Maple Street. Probably the next step on that will be a public hearing that we'll have to have. Swimming pool, we went over that. The city shed, have you guys been able to drive by there
That
and
looks
see
good.
it? They're getting really close. They put the roof on today. Garage doors are supposed to go in tomorrow, and Wednesday he said he would come back and do the finish work. So he thought by the end of the week, it'll pretty much be done, except we'll do the power. So our guys will work on that. 20th Street sewer extension, we ran into some issues with extremely wet soils and a large amount of metal and other debris that was buried back there by someone, who knows when.
Where is that at?
Like people do in this area, back
that good?
behind Sharkers.
20th Street.
When they were doing the contracting, yeah, okay.
I don't know, it's a lot of metal. So Jared Ellis has brought in a piece of his equipment to help us get all that cleaned out of the way so that we could finish that.
Down in the swamp, because it's swampy, isn't it?
Yeah. I haven't been able to get a structural engineer down here yet to look at the treatment plant building, just because they didn't have anybody available yet that could come down. The hangar request, the tennis courts,
That treatment plant building, it just needs to come down. It's falling apart.
and it's
It's in bad shape.
crack sealing. We did a little bit of that today with our new machine that we got this past year. So Bo worked out on Ferris, wasn't it Ferris Drive that you guys did today? So if you get a chance, go out by there and look. Which side was it that you guys mainly worked on?
We did the east side headed up to University, started on it.
So if you drive out by there on the east side, then look at some of the crack sealing that they done. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do that all over town on all at once, but it's going to help us a lot, I think, especially on some of these streets that are newer, that we want to extend their life, the crack sealing. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Bo?
Is that tar? Is that hot tar you use?
Bo hates it when
Come on, Bo.
Is it hot tar bar?
Yeah, it's got a little heat box in it, and we got little canisters we put it in with and squeegee it in. We're just filling up the cracks so the water and stuff don't get in there and freeze.
Well, yeah, another way, you don't have to, you just use the amount that you need. You don't waste it.
Well, and it's just on these newer streets, it's going to extend the life of those streets a little more. So they worked on that today. I think that's all I
Tennis
have.
court?
Tennis court, we'll be waiting. Yeah, I mean, it does have some issues, but they don't start working again until April 1st. We're on their list to contact once they start. So,
Well, it's the weather's gotta be right.
yeah,
Gotta
they
be
don't
warm
open,
enough, yeah.
they don't open back up until then.
Everybody, they're just gonna have to wait till the weather gets good.
That's pretty much, I think, everything else we covered during the meeting.
Okay, all right. Next thing on
I
the
do have
agenda-
some stuff for closed.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is bills. You'll take a look at that.
Motion.
There's a motion by Webb, second by Mark to pay the bills. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we'll take a short break and then we'll go to
Need a
executive session.
motion to go out?
Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Take a short 5 minutes and we'll be back.